Hey there, this is lecture 18. These are the first two questions. The other video will contain the rest of them. And so we are taking a look at some algebra here. And these problems are going to look familiar. They are very similar to what we did back when we solved these using boxes or charts. So in this case, we're going to think about the first step is always to identify your variables. So when I read through example 1, what they're asking in the end says how many chips were blue, red, and purple. So B is going to be my letter for blue. R is going to be my letter for red. And purple will be P. So this is me defining my variables, okay? So B is equal to blue, R is equal to red, and P is equal to purple. Then I'm going to go to the ratios. So twice as many blue chips as red. So I'm going to write this. We would always write this 2 to 1, and this is blue to red. Only I'm going to write the top one on the left and the bottom one on the right. So blue to red. And then what I do is I essentially just put an equal sign after the first letter because the blue is twice as many as red. So blue equals 2 red. So blue is equal to 2 red. And that becomes my first equation. From here, I look at the next one. So then we're going 1/3 as many red as purple. Okay, so 1/3 as many red, and I'm going to put that on the left, to purple on the right. And then I put my equal sign after the red. So red is 1/3 purple. So we get red is equal to 1/3 purple. And again, if I want to get rid of that 3 on the bottom, what I can do is I can multiply both sides of my equation by 3. And that tells me that 3 red is equal to 1 purple. And then I can lose the 1 and I just write purple. So purple is equal to 3 red. Okay, so now I have two equations that I'm working with. I have this one and I have this one over here. So those come straight from my ratios. Then the next thing we would do, right? Normally we would use those to set up our boxes. And then we would go to the ending statement and say, okay, there's some kind of number here that I'm going to do something with. And the 36 here represents how many total chips there were in the bowl. So my 36 is red, blue, and purple all together. So that would mean I'm writing the equation red plus blue plus purple has to equal 36. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two smaller equations that I wrote and I'm going to plug them in. So I'm going to make B 2R and I'm going to make P 3R. So that's going to give me R plus, instead of B, I'm using that equation that says B equals 2R. So substitute there and then substitute 3R in for your P and that will give you 36. Now we can just solve this. So combine your like terms. R plus 2R plus 3R is 6R equals 36. And then you're going to divide both sides by the 6 to get R by itself. And that tells me that R equals 6. So there's my R. And then I can go back, right, up here and plug those back in to find my blue and my red. So blue is 2 times R. So blue is 2 times 6, so 12. And then P is 3 times 6, which is 18. And then, of course, we can check to make sure that those add up to 36 so that we're good to go. Okay. And again, you're going to write a little sentence that has your answer in it. And let's go through example 2. Very similar here. So we start out with, there were twice as many yellow chips as green chips. Now our variables here, I'm going to use Y for yellow, G for green, and then I also have orange, so O for orange. Actually, I think I'm going to use R for orange, just because sometimes O looks like a 0. Okay, so let's start out with the yellow one here. Twice as many yellow chips as green chips. So twice would be 2 to 1, yellow to green. And again, my equal sign goes after the Y. So this is going to be Y equals 2G. That's my first equation. And then I look at the second statement. So 1/3 as many green as orange. So 1/3 green to orange. And again, that equal sign goes right after the first letter. So that's going to give me G equals 3R. Oops, 1/3 R. And if I multiply both sides by 3, again, I get R equals 3G. So now I have two equations. Now we look at the last number. So there were 51 orange chips. So that tells me that R is going to be 51. Okay, and from there, I can work my way back. So if I set my R equal to 51, then over here, I have 3G equals R, and R is 51. And then I can divide both sides by 3. If I divide both sides by 3, that looks like, I want to say 17. Okay, and once we know that G is 17, then we can plug that into our other equation where Y is equal to 2 times G. So we're multiplying 2 times 17 to get 34. Okay, so you're going through the same process that we did with boxes, only instead of boxes, you're writing equations.